Welcome back to Vegas, everybody. I'm Matt Perrault from SB Nation Radio. Time for another pick video for us. But remember, first, you want to go to playpicks.com/bonus, playpicks.com/bonus. All the best New Jersey sports books and those no deposit bonuses. Have you been playing these picks? Look at 7-2 over the last 2 weeks, right? This is a free video. It's a free article. You can read all my information, all of the data as to why I'm picking these games, but I'm going to tell you right here in this video as to why we're taking these games. But 7-2, we are 27-15 on our picks. We're doing really well. Hopefully you're playing this. One of my buddies from Nebraska has been all over this. He's fired up. He's making money. So let's see what you guys can do coming up here with some of these picks for this week. Let's start with the game of the week. The number 1 Crimson Tide on the road at LSU. Number 4, number 3, 4 in the polls, 3 in the college football playoff predictions. Look, number 3 isn't a great place to be, okay? Number 3, I think number 3 has never made it all the way to the Final Four in the first rankings when they're picked number 3. But LSU here, Notre Dame fans are mad. Michigan fans are mad. It's going to work itself out. The question is, to me, it's not whether or not Alabama is going to win the game or not. The question is, can Bama cover a 14.5-point line? That's the question. I think Alabama wins this football game. However, Alabama has played no one. I mean, their best win is Texas A&M, right? I don't know what to make of Alabama besides they're crushing everybody, but they still have a very young quarterback in Tua. He's going on the road. He's playing in Death Valley for the first time. This is not an easy place to play. In fact, it might be the most difficult place to play in the entire country. Ask Georgia. They went in there and they got their doors blown off. This place is going to be rocking. The Cajuns are going to be chomping at the bit from the second this hits Saturday on the calendar. They're going to be up cooking, drinking, tailgating, getting ready for this football game. Alabama scores on everyone. They're the best offense in the country. They have a top 10 defense. They have given up some points and some yardage in mop-up duty when the second and third team guys are in there. Tua has rarely played in the fourth quarter. The question everybody has is, can LSU make this a 4-quarter game? I think they can, and they do it by running the football, and I know that's a tough thing to do. Alabama's run defense is really, really stout, but they've got to slow this game down. They've got to take the air out of the ball, and they've got to get their running backs, Nick Brissett and the guys, have got to be able to run the football. If they can do that, if they can move the chains, something they have struggled to do against teams like Auburn and Miami, where third down conversions wasn't very good for them, they've got to pick up third downs, and they've got to keep that offense on the sidelines for Alabama. If they can do it, I think they keep this game close enough to take LSU 14.5. Look, I love home dogs. I love home dogs in rivalry games, and you're giving me 2 touchdowns. This is Alabama. I fully understand it. Crimson Tide will win this football game, but I'm taking the home dog here. Give me the 14.5 LSU. Let's see if the Tigers can shock the world. Moving on to the Big Ten. Big game in the Big Ten. Remember, picks and leans are 2 different things. A pick is what I am putting my money on. A lean is what I think is going to happen. I got a pick in this game. I got some leans coming up a little bit later on, at least one lean coming up later on in the video. But let's talk about Penn State, number 14 Penn State on the road at number 5 Michigan. Look, Penn State is a team that they've got nice players. There's just something I don't like about them. I didn't like them last week. It's why I picked Iowa. Now, it was a close game, a 7-point line, and they won by 6. So I'll take the win. They were able to come back, come from behind, and beat an Iowa team that I think is a little bit overrated. I know some of my Iowa friends will get mad at that, but I don't think Iowa's that good. They got a good defense. Their offense is so-so. Penn State is a team that there's a lot of hype because of last year, a lot of thought about Trace McSorley and having a great quarterback, but I just think fundamentally there's something a little bit off and they're a little bit overrated. I am a big Michigan fan. I think their offense is good enough. Their defense could be the best in the country. I don't see how Penn State scores. Penn State has to run the football to be effective, and they're not going to run on Michigan. I just think the Wolverines are looking at the game against Ohio State. They're chomping out the bit, but they're not going to overlook Penn State. This is a very important game for Michigan, who, them and their fans, were upset when they found out that they're outside the top 4 for the college football playoffs. Great motivation for Coach Harbaugh. Say, hey, guys, let's go make a big statement here. Let's take care of business. Don't let Penn State in the game. The line's big here, okay? Double-digit favorite at home. It's difficult. But I just don't think Penn State can score, and Shea Patterson's playing well enough. The offense is playing well enough I love the fact that they're at home. I love the fact that they are right now trying to prove something and trying to get after it with national attention. It's great that they're ranked in the top 5, but not in the playoffs at the moment. They understand it's going to be somewhat of a pageant, a looks contest. What do you look like in these wins? You can't just win. You got to win a certain way. I think Coach Harbaugh knows that. I think they're going to, I don't think run the score up, but I feel pretty confident that if Michigan has a chance to score late, they're going to go and score late. Michigan has a date with Ohio State, like I mentioned, but they got to first take care of business. I think it's a 31-10 type of victory. I think it's pretty lopsided. Take the better team here, even with laying a double-digit line, minus the 10. I like Michigan to really pound Penn State. Our third game that we're going to pick, we're going to go back to the SEC. On a different week, this game might be the game of the week in the SEC. It's just Alabama LSU is on the same day, but Georgia and Kentucky. It is the SEC East championship game. Kind of strange. This is not basketball for Kentucky. This is football and a huge game for Coach Stoops and his team, not Bob Mark. I am in love with this team for Kentucky. They play extraordinarily well on defense, and Benny Snell Jr. could be the best running back in the country. I know you say, okay, it's really easy. You stop Kentucky, stop them running the football, and you beat Kentucky. Well, other teams have tried to do that so far this season, and they have failed to do so. They have laid one egg so far this season, but they have a chance to play in Atlanta. Georgia, on the other hand, well, they played pretty well in the second half against Florida, but before the bye, they had a really difficult time against LSU. They couldn't run the football against LSU, and they lost. Can they run against Kentucky? Kentucky's giving up 109 yards per game on the ground. It's not easy to run on these guys. They've got some NFL talent on the defense side of the football. This is a big game for Fromm, their quarterback. We'll see Justin Fields a little bit, but I think the feeling is from Bulldog Nation, and I talked to one of the broadcast crew guys this week on the radio crew for the Georgia Bulldogs. They just want to get in there and get a win. The line is 9.5. Too many points. Once again, it's a home dog. You're giving me nearly double digits at home. Look, I know offenses like Georgia can get hot and they can explode, and Fromm is an accurate quarterback, but I just think you're going to give me that many points. I don't know how you bet against Kentucky in this state, in this situation. Home field, massive football game, biggest game for Coach Stoops in his tenure at Kentucky in Lexington. You've got, a chance to play in Atlanta if you shock the world. I don't think Kentucky wins this game. I think Georgia is a top 5 team. I think Georgia is one of the best teams in the country, but I think this is going to be a slobber knocker of a football game. I love this game. It's got the national audience prime time, or I guess the prime window on CBS. To me, take the points. Kentucky, they might win outright. I don't think they will. Georgia wins, but Kentucky plus 9.5 to play. Our final game that we're going to pick here is in the Big 12, and this is going to be your typical Big 12 all offense, no defense football game between West Virginia and Texas. So if you've been watching these videos, you know how I feel about Tom Herman in Texas, and you also know how I feel about Tom Herman as a favorite. Tom Herman last week as a favorite loses again on the road at Oklahoma State. They lose. They're now 0-5 against the spread this year with Tom Herman laying points. Well, here we are again with Texas minus 1.5. Now, by the time this game goes off, we'll see where the number goes. It could be 1. It could be down to half, or maybe a pick 'em. We'll see what happens. But it is an interesting look at where Texas is right now. And so I have a lean and I have a pick. My lean in this game, where I think it's going to happen, because of the 0-5 number for Texas as a favorite, I can't recommend betting on Texas, but my lean would be Texas minus 1.5. That's where I think it's going to go. Where I will bet, however, is your good old-fashioned up and down crazy football game with no defense. Texas, West Virginia, the total 58. I'm going with the over. Both these offenses can score. Look, even in losses, Will Grier and West Virginia can put points up. They did so against Iowa State. I think that Texas defense, which has been giving up huge numbers through the air, last week they got victimized, completely victimized by Oklahoma State and Mike Gundy. I don't think that defense is as good as it is on paper. That secondary, I think, has problems. I think both defenses are going to get lit up. I don't think either team really gets stopped. I think we're talking about both teams into the 30s. We're talking like a 34-31 type of game here, up and down, highly entertaining, your typical Big 12 football game, right? And look, Texas was not a top 5, top 10 team. We knew this, right? They're ranked right now 15th. That's probably where they should be. West Virginia is 12th, probably a little bit too high for West Virginia as well. I'm not very high in the whole Big 12 to begin with. I think it's kind of a mediocre conference. I know Oklahoma right now has the one shot if they run the table to get into the playoffs. I just don't see Oklahoma getting into the playoffs. I'm not sure how good Oklahoma is. Their offense is elite. Their defense is not. So to me, I'm going with the over. I want to tell you to take Texas. I would love to take Texas. It's just that Tom Herman, when he's laying points at home, I don't care. It's scary to do so. So my lean here, Texas -1.5, but my pick is going to be the over. So to recap our 4 picks here, LSU +14.5, Michigan -10, Kentucky +9.5 against Georgia, and I'll go with the over for 58 on the total for Texas and West Virginia. Remember to go to playpicks.com/bonus. That's playpicks.com/bonus for all your great New Jersey sportsbook information and those no deposit bonuses, which are great. 27-15. We're 7-2 over the last 2 weeks. Let's keep it rolling, hopefully for another winning week. And then we're back next week for another pick segment right here on playpicks.com.